Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen, Anderson, Bates, Bell, Berryhill, Block, Canella, De Leon, Fuller, Gaines, Galgiani, Hall, Hancock, Hernandez, Hertzberg, Hill, Hueso, Huff, Jackson, Lada, Leno, Leyva, Liu, McGuire, Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, Morlock, Morrell, Wynn, Nielsen, Pan, Pavley, Roth, Runner, Stone, Vidak, Wachowski, Wolk.
We are absent a quorum, and we can have sergeants call members so we can begin our session promptly. Members, please make your way to the Senate. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen, Anderson, Bates, Bell, Berryhill, Block, Canella, De Leon, Fuller, Gaines, Galgiani, Hall, Hancock, Hernandez, Hertzberg, Hill, Hueso, Huff, Jackson, Lada, Leno, Leyva, Liu, McGuire, Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, Morlock, Morrell, Wynn, Nielsen, Pan, Pavley, Roth, Runner, Stone, Vidak, Wachowski, Wolk.
Can I just say we're absent? Members, we are still absent a quorum. If you can please make your way to the Senate floor so we can commence our session for today. Thank you. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen, Anderson, Bates, Bell, Berryhill, Block, Canella, De Leon, Fuller, Gaines, Galgiani, Hall, Hancock, Hernandez, Hertzberg, Hill, Hueso, Huff, Jackson, Lotta, Leno, Leyva, Liu, McGuire, Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, Morlock, Morrell, Wynn, Nielsen, Pan, Pavley, Roth, Runner, Stone, Vidak, Wachowski, Wolk.
Members, we're just waiting on a special guest that's on his way. He's in the building. So as soon as he comes to the floor, we'll start our session. Members, a quorum is present. If you can please take your seat. Thank you. Would members and our guests beyond the rail and in the gallery please rise? Today, the Honor Guard of the California National Guard will post the national and state colors for the Senate. Assisting us today is Major General David Baldwin, Commander of the California National Guard. We will be led in prayer this morning by our chaplain, Sister Michelle Gorman, after which please remain standing. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag by retired Major General Senator Richard Roth. General Baldwin, would you please give the order?
Let us recall that we are in God's presence. Today's prayer is about leaning on God. Some people lean against fence posts when their bodies ache from toil. Some people lean on oak trees, seeking cool shade on hot, humid days. Some people lean on crutches when their limbs won't work for them. Some people lean on each other when their hearts cannot stand alone. God of shelter and strength, it often takes us a long time to lean on you. We prefer to remain independent rather than acknowledge you as an oak tree of comfort, a sturdy support when the limbs of our lives are weak. Praise to you, eternal lean-to, for being our refuge in distress, for your constant presence, and for continually bringing an end to the wars within our hearts and in our world. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Senator Nielsen.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, today we are recognizing the ending of World War II. Tomorrow will actually be VE Day, Victory in Europe Day. The war did not finally end until that August with VJ Day, the surrender of Japan. But it is appropriate for us here today to remember the sacrifices of the men and women of World War II. One of the sergeants here is actually wearing his grandfather's uniform. And these men are of the next generation, succeeding what has been called the greatest generation. Our parents or grandparents who fought in World War II. Both my father and grandfather and my stepfather fought in that war. One was launching the planes into D-Day. Another was a bombardier. And that greatest generation did not much extol the virtues of the wonderful things that they did. They stood for freedom. They came home and became productive citizens and helped make us a great nation. As that generation passes, each year we lose more of that World War II greatest generation. It is incumbent upon the rest of us to ever remember the sacrifices they made, not just for our nation and our freedom, but for freedom all over this world. Shortly today, I will be presenting a resolution asking the governor to acknowledge a memorable month for commemorating World War II. As we are here today, then, ladies and gentlemen, let's remember what they did. As we take 15 seconds of silence, envision those graves in the graveyards which you go to do Veterans Day ceremonies, or envision Arlington National Cemetery, or the cemeteries in Europe, and the men and women who lie there under and whose legacy we honor today. May we have 15 seconds of silence, and we're going to have a Piper play.
Without objection. Honor Guard, retire the colors. Members, under privileges of the floor, Senator Nielsen.
To the President Pro Tem, to the presiding officer, to the members of the Senate, thank you for your respect, your indulgence of this memory today. Shortly, I'll bring forth that resolution. Let us remember the sacrifices of the World War II greatest generations. Thank you, members of the Senate.
Thank you, Senator Nielsen. Members, we are in privileges of the floor. Privileges of the floor. Seeing none, we will move to messages from the governor. Messages from the governor will be deemed read. Messages from the assembly will be deemed read. Reports of committee will be deemed read and amendments adopted. Motions and resolutions. Without objection, the Senate journals for May 4th through May 7th, 2015 will be approved as corrected by the minute clerk. There are floor amendments at the desk. They will be deemed adopted. Members, we're moving to consideration of the daily file. Second reading file. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 340, 785, 302 with amendments, 371, 485, 493, 562, and Senate Bill 408.
Thank you. Moving to, okay. We are going to move Senator members to Senate third reading, starting with file item 15. Senator Leyva, are you prepared to take up this item? Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 40 by Senator Leyva relative to Better Hearing and Speech Month.
Senator Leyva.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. I rise today to present you with SCR 40. I first want to thank the 25 co-authors to this resolution. When I was in high school and graduating, going to college, and like many of us, wondering what I was going to do, I knew that I wanted to help people. I first thought I wanted to go to law school. And then someone talked to me about speech-language pathology. And I thought, there are many things that in life we will tolerate, and there are many things in society that we will tolerate. Something we have little tolerance for is people who cannot properly communicate. People cannot get their point across. So I decided to go to school and become a speech-language pathologist. Ultimately, I ended up in the labor movement for 20 years, speaking for people in another way, but I have a great amount of respect for speech and language pathologists, and I hope that all of you will join me in voting yes on this resolution and making sure that we honor them in the month of May. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Members, debate or discussion on this item? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I. Anderson. I. Bates. I. Bell. I. Berryhill. I. Block. I. Cannella. I. De Leon. Fuller. Gaines. I. Galgiani. I. Hall. I. Hancock. Hernandez. I. Hertzberg. I. Hill. I. Hueso. I. Huff. I. Jackson. I. Lara. I. Leno. I. Leyva. I. Liu. McGuire. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Monning. I. Morlock. I. Morrell. I. Wynn. I. Nilsson. I. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. Stone. I. Vidak. I. Wachowski. I. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Call the absent members.
De Leon. Fuller. Hancock. Liu. McGuire. Runner.
Ayes 33, no 0. The resolution is adopted. Moving to file item 16, Senator Hueso. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 303 by Senator Hueso, an act relating to controlled substances.
Senator Hueso.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I rise to present SB 303, a measure that will protect officers' health across the state by reducing the amount of marijuana that law enforcement must maintain as evidence. Law enforcement officers are required by law to store 10 pounds of marijuana and 5 representative samples of evidence. This can be very burdensome on some of these agencies because most facilities were not intended to store such large quantities of controlled substances. This has created a problem for these agencies in storing these facilities, and it often requires more the construction of more space to properly house these substances. As we know, there hasn't been enough money across our state for these improvements, so the result has been improper storage of these controlled substances. According to a June report by Attorney General's Office, 9 counties, Shasta, Glenn, Mendocino, Sacramento, Merced, Madera, Fresno, Ventura, and LA counties currently possess over 1,000 pounds of marijuana. This often creates a serious health threat to law enforcement personnel as marijuana begins to form mold and develop spores within a very short period of time. I had the opportunity to visit one of these facilities and did get sick for a while from the air quality. So I ask for your support for this important measure in support of law enforcement.
Members, debate or discussion on this item? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I. Anderson. I. Bates. Bell. I. Berryhill. I. Block. I. Canella. I. De Leon. I. Fuller. Gaines. I. Galgiani. I. Hall. I. Hancock. I. Hernandez. I. Hertzberg. I. Hill. I. Wesso. I. Huff. I. Jackson. I. Lada. I. Leno. I. Leyva. Liu. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. Monning. I. Morlock. I. Morrell. I. Wynn. I. Nilsson. I. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. I. Stone. I. Vidak. I. Wachowski. I. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Bates. Aye. Fuller. Leyva. Liu. Mitchell.
Ayes 35, no 0. The measure passes. Members, just to remind you very quickly, we are on a short time schedule today. Brevity is much appreciated. In other words, help me help you get your items out quickly. We are moving to file item 17. Senator Mitchell. Secretary, please read.